Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on the MR2 actually. So last time you saw me put the engine together and then I threw it in the daily. And then I brought it back to the car, to my parents' house. And yesterday we threw the engine in. So sorry I didn't record that, but I forgot how big of a pain in the ass it was to throw this thing back into the car. Just threw it all back together, and now all I have in is this engine mount and that engine mount. So the engine still has a lot of like side to side motion. So basically the plan is now is to put the other mounts on and then just start putting everything back together. I got to put on the intake, the fuel rail, plug wires, harness, oil, stuff like that, but we'll see how much we can get done today. All right, quick update. The alternator's on, the intake manifold is on, the engine is mounted in the car, all the engine mounts are on. I got to put plug wires in, put oil in it, put the fuel rail on. I did get new seals for the injectors. I did end up missing one injector. I don't know where it went. It grew legs and walked off, but I ordered one off of a Toyota pickup with a 22RE. It's the same flow rate, same CC. So I gotta go pick that up at O'Reilly's and then slap that in with the fuel rail, put the exhaust manifold on, oil in it, and oh, I gotta start putting the wiring harness back in. So the wiring harness is all jumbled up right here. So I gotta do that, and then we are getting closer and closer to starting this thing. Stay tuned. Alrighty, I put the exhaust manifold on, the coil and igniter are on, the plug wires are on. I'm gonna fill this up with oil, and then I'm also going to put just a cap full of oil down in each cylinder. I'm about to go run to O'Reilly's just to go get the missing injector, and then I'll put the fuel rail on, plumb that up, and then start on the wiring harness, get everything put in its place. And then once that's in place, I think we're good for a first start. Oh, and a battery. Duh. Always gotta get a battery. But yeah, stay tuned. Well, I ordered one at O'Reilly's and I also ordered one at Advance Auto, and both of them wouldn't work. Basically, I ordered it from an 85 pickup, and it's the same injector CC size, but it's not going to work because this black portion on the other one was way too short. It was a lot shorter than this one is with no seal. So I ordered one from an 87 4Runner, and me and the guy at the parts store, we were looking at it side by side, and it looks like this black section is going to stick out enough, and this is going to work, same connector and everything, and it's the same CC as well. So that's on order. It's going to be picked up tomorrow. It's going to be here by 11 a.m. But basically what I'm going to do now is just start routing all the wiring harness. I can go ahead and like halfway put the fuel rail in just with these injectors, and then put the fourth one in tomorrow. But for now, just put in the wiring harness in, and then tomorrow we'll hopefully get the first start. So I decided to pull up the carpet in the trunk to vacuum it, and yeah, that's crusty. Then we come into the trunk. Yeah, there's a lot of surface rust. See, I can just poke right through it. There's a big hole right there, another hole right there, another hole right there. So this trunk is definitely in for some rust repair. Also, the previous owner for some reason thought that this would be a good idea, punching a hole through the freaking trunk for the intake. I don't know why, but I mean, I guess I just got to deal with it for now. Eventually I can just change this out for a straight through and then just have a filter there, but I thought that was ridiculous, but whatever. So yeah, I guess the reason I'm doing this now is because I'm just trying to kill time while the injector gets here. All of this in here is pretty much done. Got the fuel ran. I mocked up the fuel rail. That way when tomorrow, when the injector comes in, I can just
slide that in real quick, not a big deal. I do have to get some heater, some water hose for this pipe, and then the other one that's the same diameter as this. Fuels ran. Almost all the sensors are done. I have to make sure that I get the, since I'm deleting the EGR, because I made this little block off plate, I'm deleting the EGR, so I have to make sure that I have all those vacuum lines capped off that I need to, and then that'll be good.
All right, so it's the next day of trying to get the 7AGE running. Advance did order the injector, but they screwed up and they gave me the wrong injector. Luckily, I ended up finding the injector that I've lost. So I found it. I ran some carb cleaner through it with a 12-volt power supply, so it ran through it cleanly. All the wiring is there. Now what I'm going to do is go to Harbor Freight and pick up a siphon pump. That way I can get the gas out of this tank. So I'm just going to take out the center console and all that stuff, and then go in from the fuel sender. Take that out, get the gas out, because there's like a little bit over a quarter tank in this thing. So I hope that it didn't gunk up the fuel pump, but I'm gonna do that, put fresh gas in it, put the oil in it, put a battery to it, and then this thing is gonna be ready to start, hopefully. Oh, I still have to put the I'm gonna get another bracket holder eventually, but for now this is gonna have to do, this ugly triangle bracket. I know it's hideous and it's gonna be a huge eyesore in the engine bay, but at least for now, while we try to start this thing, it should be okay. I'm also going to be adding a bottle of this zinc engine break-in oil additive. I've heard good things about this, and it's supposed to help with initial break-in. Okay, so the engine's filled with oil, fuel rail's back in. I'm leaving the injectors unplugged, and I also have the spark plugs out. I'm going to go ahead and prime the system, battery's in, and then once it's primed, I don't want to flood the engine, that's why the injectors are unplugged. But then once it's primed, we'll supply fuel and spark, and then hopefully it starts. Got a bottle of water just in case shit goes south, but let's see what happens. That didn't work. Let's try this again. Sounds like starters crapped out. Alright, next take. Okay. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug everything back in. Probably put a little bit more fuel in it just because the fuel light's on, but put the plugs back in, put everything back on, and then hopefully see what she does. Check the oil real quick. It's perfect. Looking good. It hasn't seized up, so that's awesome. We're already at a win. We haven't had to let the smoke out, so. Alright, everything's back in. The distributor is loose just so I can be able to set ignition timing. These are the plug wires off the 8.6, so I will be taking these back home because the 8.6 does run and drive, as you guys know. So I'll order a set for this engine. These are just some NGK wires. They're like 40 bucks. But everything's plugged in. I just put the key to the on position and then like hit the flapper door on this, and then it primed the fuel pump. So now we're going to try to start it. Oh my god. Okay, let's see what happens. 7AGE AW11 MR2, first start since 2016. Okay, what happened? Anything leaking? Oh shit. Nothing is leaking. On the bottom anyway. Anything up here? What we got? What we got? What we got? Anything? 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 Did I leave anything unplugged? what's up? I don't know if that coil is good or not. So I did bring the one off the 8.6 just in case, so I might try throwing that on. Come on, baby. Alright, now I'm going to try to put some fluid in here into the intake to see if it'll take that. At least that way we know that we have some spark. But hoping that we have fuel. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this thing is on open header, so it's going to be pretty loud. But I just put some starting fluid in it and see what happens. Come on, baby. Fuck. Alright, Mom's in the car. She's going to try starting it, and I'm going to try working the throttle. Okay. Yep. Oh, dude, it wants to go so bad. Come on. Otra vez. Yeah. Alright, so basically what happened is I put the diagnostic port on and it gave me a code 11. I looked in the manual and that's like a TPS signal or an air conditioning signal, and I don't have air conditioning in this thing, so I'm guessing it's the TPS, even though whenever I had all this apart, I cleaned the intake manifold and I readjusted the TPS, so I don't know what's up with there. I also did try unplugging the TPS and it startled, but it started up for a second, longer than it has before, and then it died again. So, but I gotta go. My time is up with this thing. But thank you guys for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll freaking see you in the next one, where hopefully the car will be running and driving.